Hey people, the eye wall that storm is just now getting here. That wind's kicking pretty good. It's still blowing. Usually they die out when they hit land, but this one's holding together pretty good. But everything's going to be fine. The power them clicked off about 8 times and come back on. So Mr. Lucky Muffin asked me again. He says, what are the modern translators reading? How are they getting such a different info? And so I saw a movie about 6 years ago where somebody interviewed a couple of his rabbis, young, and they said, you learn one or two things in school. He said you either memorize the entire Torah, or you've learned that the rules of the language make a complete circle, and any word can mean anything at any time, and then you learn the complete Torah. But I'm calling them out. They cannot read it. They're just repeating what they were told it said. They don't use the language. If you was to dictate to one of them something, he cannot write it in biblical Hebrew and send it to his other rabbi, and he can't read it back to you, because all they do is memorize. All these words can mean anything at any time, and I'll prove it right here. Here's one right here that's not. This all, this is the same word they say mean God sometime. You see over here, it's law, lo. They give this not most of the time, but sometimes they say this means God too. And ayin and a couple other words mean no and not, they say. But ayin is a no, but they're reading it backwards. It's naya, nada. I was just looking at this, and what it says is K-A, and read it backwards, M-I-T, kemet. Kemet stays backwards and forwards. Kemet stays and then backwards because it starts with an A. The last at to some days. The Kemet stays lasts it to some days. Kemet's still here. From Pinnacle. And then starts with A and it backward, writes. From Pinnacle. I tell you, PNI means place, as in when you're mapping, MPNI, the mapping give. And so a ping is a place when you're locating your position on the water. Of Pinnacle. Writes backwards, RTS. Here's your word pinnacle right here, and the pinnacle is the most successful point of a culmination. A high pointed piece of rock, as in a pyramid. That's why you don't see the top on them anymore. They had to remove the pinnacle because it has a code in it. A small pointed turret built as an ornament on a roof. The pinnacle, the high point, the point to measure from. For the late Latin, the pinna, the ping, the pin, pinaculum. But that's what this is, from Pinnacle, writes. And so rights are putting it down on paper to rights, but it's also like your last rites, like when you're having a ceremony and giving somebody rights to come in the club, from the Pinnacle rights. But you can see, they give both these the same meaning, no. And I saw this while looking here. And when I saw this, I seen it just didn't fit. Only two, ka, stays. They say stays means two often, but sometimes it's the sign they say means two. They have all that many words with many meanings, and they piece this together. And you can say they give it the meaning God right here, A-L, God. And so this is a bunch of the words meaning God that didn't fit the other categories. They slipped them in here. Of the mighty one is the A-I-L, or the lie, L-I-A. Here's the A-L used 163 times. They say it's God, the A-L. all kind of gods. And I was looking for where they say low means God. But here's Baal. Baal also means God. To old info make often Baal. Side. Baal Shaddai. God Almighty. Baal. You know, that's the same when they tell you means the devil, but here it's God Almighty. You know, here it's all. So it's before God. And here's Isis up here. The kill all. See, Isis is owed. The storm's kicking pretty hard out there. I hear some stuff blowing around. Ode of the like of low, and then this reads backwards and forwards. The low of in from spot. Ooh, that storm got pretty rough last night. It knocked the power. I got a generator cranked up and got my phone charging and in the refrigerator getting cold again. Got the pump running. So I'm gonna have to cut this short, but yeah, here's 570 times, you know, that they say this AL means no, not. The same word they say means God means no. And they'll bust it up in a whole bunch of different categories. The same words, just 4 times, meaning not. And the same word, and it means God now. And it's not just this word, it's all the words have multiple meanings. And they just give it this meaning to force the Latin book over this old Hebrew, because they didn't want people reading this Hebrew. But Hebrew is a writing style. The language is called Teutonic. It means you can see the language in the picture language, but it also has, you know, T-E-W means to shape. You know, the shapes have a language without ever turning it into a word. And then the tonic means it also has a sound, and the sound is our English language. But the majority of these words, they say they only use them one time. You click on them, and it means, and the woman who lives here, or they just say it means lives, but it only comes up one time, and that's the majority. You know, 98 times total, but the most of them are just one time, and they just put them all in a group and they give them one meaning. And that's because it'll come up many more times, but they'll give it a different meaning. But I got to cut this off short. I got to go chase down some gas for the generator. It's going to be running out soon, and I got to run my mama's water in her refrigerator next door with it. I can't let that go down. But when I get everything settled, I'll get a longer movie up. All right, good day.